Jack Bowen, welcome to, what are we on? Episode 3 or 4 of the Call Room Road to Balboa. How you doing this morning, man?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
I want to hear, what does a normal day in your life look like these days? Fall, school year, senior year. Take me through it.
It really the whole day how the day starts depends on whether or not we have morning practice. So if it's morning practice, I'm waking up at like 6:15 usually. Getting ready, getting dressed for school, heading to practice and getting the first practice of the day in. And then just showering, going through my classes, and then heading to the second practice of the day. But if it's no morning practice, just waking up, getting my uniform on, um, get going to classes, getting through the day, getting to practice, just having fun at practice, and then going home, doing homework, and going to bed pretty early. So yeah, that's probably the normal day for me.
I'd like to think I follow the sport pretty closely, and 6 months ago, I can't say I really knew of your name. I'd say the last week that's really changed. What's this period been like after that race in Terre Haute, running so fast, beating the best guys in the country in stunning fashion?
Yeah, it's been really cool. Honestly, for me, it doesn't feel very different because I know I've been the athlete that that ran that race for a long time. I just maybe haven't shown it yet, had the chance to show it yet on the big stage like that. But it's been really cool. Um, kind of getting your name out there, seeing people talking about it a little more. But at the end of the day, it's like nothing changed between me 2 weeks ago and me a month ago. I was still the same person then, and I'm still the same person now. So, but it's been really cool.
Is it almost nice for you to have I mean, obviously, I mean, you committed to run for North Carolina, one of the best schools in the country. Like, I don't want to make it sound like you were slacking a year ago, but is it almost nice that you've kind of had this nice progression throughout high school to the point where now senior year, you're going to be competing for national titles, as we'll talk about here in a little bit, versus some kids who come in freshman year after having the best middle school career and all eyes are on them. And, if they don't, break 9 minutes in the 2 miles of freshman, it's like the whole world's over. Has it been nice to not really have pressure on yourself throughout high school?
Yeah, it's been nice. I think I put a lot of pressure on myself sometimes, but yeah, I haven't had a bunch of pressure from external sources at all. Yeah, just really just enjoying the ride. It's fun to see the progression in the times, my progression, my mentality that's changed over the years. Yeah, just becoming a better athlete every day. Yeah, it's been really exciting.
What are some ways in which you've tried to combat that pressure that you put on yourself?
I think just thinking about like racing, competing as like something to be excited for and to be grateful for instead of like maybe a pressure or like a job almost. Like I mean at the end of the day, like it's not like the end all be all. It's like it's supposed to be fun. And I think if I forget that it's fun, then I don't race as well and I just don't have as much enjoyment. So I think just remembering just to be excited for it, be happy that you're here where you are. Just like thanking God for like where you've come from and where you are now. I think just just being excited, having fun during races, stuff like that.
3 minutes into talking to you, I can see why Milt recruited you and why you're going to UNC. You guys talk very similarly. I can tell very similar values and mindsets around the sport. Take me through your first interaction with him and ultimately deciding to go to Chapel Hill.
Yeah. So I talked to Coach Mooney a couple times, and then one day, Coach Miltenberg called me, and he was just like he was so excited, like that was like his first thing. His energy was just like really kind of unmatched between all these other coaches I talked to. He seemed really like genuinely interested about me as a person and excited about me as an athlete. I think that just kind of stuck out for me. And yeah, I mean UNC. I'd always wanted to go to UNC even before I started running, and so just like to be able to run for them is and with all these like great guys, like some of the best athletes in the sport, and I think some of the best athletes that will be in the sport. Um, I think it's just super exciting, and I'm super grateful to have the opportunity to do that.
Obviously, Parker and Ethan will probably be gone by the time you step onto campus, at least running for UNC. But what's it been like to see their success? And even like, I'm not sure how much of history you followed, but Milt had so much success at Stanford and then ultimately kind of flipped UNC's program completely around. And you see the success of Wolf, Strand, a bunch of other dudes. What's it been like to see the athlete's success? See, Parker almost make the Olympic team and think like, wow, I'm going to the guy that facilitated that growth.
Yeah, I mean it's really awesome. Like yeah, watching Parker win all these races, Ethan, and even all the other guys. Like I don't know, just even more than their achievements, I think it's their character, and just like what they do and how they were like even around me on my visit. Like I think just being around those people is super cool, and obviously Coach Milt, one probably the I think the best coach in the NCAA, and just I'm going to get to learn from him and learn from Coach Mooney and all the guys for the next 4 years. It's just super exciting and it's super inspiring watching Parker win all those big races and think like I'm going to be wearing that same uniform in a couple of years.
Asking this question very generally, not calling anyone out. Of all the coaches I've had on the podcast, I'm impressed by all of them, and they all seem like great people. Some I know better than others. But a question that I think could be helpful for the listener who's going through the recruiting process, and something I'm curious to hear about as someone who never really went through a recruiting process. You're one of the top guys in the country, right? So any visit you go on, they're going to try to, schmooze you up and give you the best time of your life so that you go there. How do you kind of read through that and make sure the place is actually the place for you and not just kind of a 3-day experience where everyone's, super nice to you just to get you there?
Yeah. I think more than anything, just like looking at how the team functions and how the team interacts with each other, because I think that's kind of the product of how the coaching and what the chemistry around the team is like. So I think if you really like how everyone's interacting with each other, you can really see yourself being there and just and feeling like the coaches care about you as a person as well as just an athlete. Like you're not just someone to run fast times for them. Um, they want you to they want to see you grow in all areas of your life, including running, but also like every other area as well.
Take me through the desire to go to North Carolina. Did you used to play basketball? Where does this come from? Michael Jordan fan?
My dad went to North Carolina, and I've always really liked the school. I like their colors. That was probably the big thing when I was little. I really like their colors. I like their basketball team. But yeah, just I think it's a great all around school. It's big enough that it would be different from my high school now. And it's still the classes aren't going to be like huge size. Really great school. I want to be a pre med major. So really good pre med program there. Um, Not too far from home, but also not too close. I think it just really just checked all the boxes for me, even before running.
I mentioned how that, race that we'll get into in a minute kind of put your name on the map, I feel like. For you, was there a point before it, or was it that race that you felt like you were starting to get some of the recognition that you deserve? Because as you said, like you were a 14:41 guy probably for a good bit. You just need to run the race to prove it.
Yeah. Honestly, I think last year Nike Indoor Nationals, the mile, I got fifth in that race, and I felt like, and that was after 2 days of other races, and I felt like that meet entirely like really kind of boosted my ability to compete in bigger fields with really great athletes. Because I think that was something I definitely did struggle with my first couple of years of running. Like I'd do really well in our small like home meets, and then I'd get to these big meets with all these guys that were just as good as me or better, and I'd kind of panic. So I think that was like that trip and that experience, those 3 races that I took place, and really helped up my mentality. And then I think I had a pretty good outdoor track season. It kind of got cut short because I got the flu like right at the end, so I didn't really get to do any postseason stuff. I just couldn't really get back into training the way I wanted to. But yeah, just I think I just came to cross country with a chip on my shoulder, and just ready to show some people what I can do.
Take me through that summer of training post that track season that you mentioned, this past track season where you got the flu, had that chip on your shoulder.
So yeah, basically I took a flat on a 3 or 4 week break from running entirely. My coach wanted me to just like chill out for a little bit after the sickness, make sure I didn't jump back into it too strong because obviously I had like 7, 8 months before I even I needed to like be at my peak form again. But yeah, so just I took a long break, and I came back. I honestly started pretty slow, just like doing like probably 20 miles a week for like 2 weeks, and I started building. I was working at a summer camp for my school, like an overnight summer camp for my school at the time. So my coach is head of it, so we were meeting every morning, doing the practices. So it was really accessible, really easy for me to be able to get out there and run. So yeah, and I just kept building. And honestly, going into the school year, I was at my highest mileage I've ever been at. Um, just focused on a lot of tempo stuff, not a lot of speed work, not even now, like not really a ton of speed work, and just really working on aerobic strength and getting some higher mileage weeks in, just so I know like so I can reap the benefits in November and December.
How early into this summer training block did you feel like you were, back to that old Jack prior to the flu? Like, okay, I'm getting back to it. I'm in a good spot.
Yeah, honestly, it was pretty soon. Like I was doing a couple tempo workouts, some pretty easy stuff, but like compared to like where I felt like in the last couple summers I was like, yeah, I can feel myself. I'm getting strong again. Like I'm gonna be ready for this cross country season.
Let's talk about that race at the Nike Cross Country Twilight. You win it in 14:41. You would probably know the number. I think it's like fifth or fourth fastest time ever on that course, and so many legends have run that course. What did that race mean to you? And going back to a few questions ago, you talked about kind of the pressure and how back in the day when you'd go to these bigger meets, you'd feel a lot more pressure and expectation on yourself. You clearly did something right that day. Had you line up on the start line, see names like Evan Noonan flying from California, and still have the confidence and swagger to race those guys like you were the better one?
Yeah. I was honestly, I think the amount of excitement I had for that meet, really did help me. I didn't put a ton of pressure on myself for this meet. I just kind of said every time I would like kind of think about the outcome, I would just kind of take that thought and push it away in my head. Like I wasn't worried about the outcome. I just wanted to go out there, get a good race in, good effort. My coach told me just before the race, like I want you to have a good effort this race. Um, so yeah, I just kind of put myself in the pack, and then as we were going up that hill at like right around 2K, I kind of felt it lull a little bit. So I'm like, all right, I might as well just like take it, push it up this hill, and then I just kind of started breaking away from the pack, and then yeah, I just had. I mean, it was a great race. I was super happy with it. Super happy with how I raced it. Just glad for the opportunity.
Take me through the feelings crossing the finish line, seeing the time, realizing you won, beat that field. What were the feelings like? And was this like a big validating point for you of like, I've arrived, I'm here, I can be one of the best in the country, I can be the best in the country?
Yeah, it was like it definitely felt like a culmination of a lot of work um, that I had done over the past couple months. I hadn't had the best couple of races before starting my season, so it was a relief, and it was just yeah, I was just super happy, super excited. Everyone was like talking to me after, and I was kind of out of it because I was like, wow, I can't believe I just did that. That was probably my main thought, like, wow, that's crazy. I can't believe I ran that time and beat those people. But yeah, it was pretty surreal.
What's more impressive to you, the 14:41 on Laverne, which I think is honestly a decently difficult course, or beating that field and winning?
Uh, Probably winning. I'm always one to think about the place more than the time. Like I think time is pretty subjective. So yeah, beating the people I did and just winning the race is probably more special to me.
Talking about Laverne itself, it's a course that is tried and tested throughout the years. And, a guy like Cole Matisse, as we talk about Foot Locker, he went on to win Foot Locker and he grew up in the state of Indiana. So obviously he raced it all the time. You can compare yourself to his times. You ran faster on that course than he ever has, or, people like Connor Burns have ran there, all sorts of legends, Footsum Zenizalase way back in the day. Um, and I'm curious, not to hate on other courses, but like a Woodbridge, you can't really quantify it because it's almost like a fake course. Like, not to hate on people who have run fast there, they're still fast times, but it's like Laverne is actually a true cross country course. Have you looked at the history of Laverne? People who have run there and been like, wow, I'm one of the fastest to ever run there, and this is going to bode well come November and December.
Yeah, a little bit, not really a ton. I know someone told me like one of my teachers at school was like, did you know like Cole Hawker ran there and you beat him? Are you gonna be an Olympian? Like stuff like that. That's pretty cool to hear. Like it's just like I mean it's so trivial, but it's still cool to hear. Um, but yeah, not a ton honestly. Like I think everyone's just getting faster. Like I think times have just gotten faster. So I mean, comparing myself, I don't think comparing myself is ever really good. Um, to for anyone. Like I think if I'm worried about what other people are doing versus myself, it's just gonna hurt me, not help me. So yeah, and even like course like Woodbridge, like I don't really pay attention to stuff like that either. Like I mean I don't know the first. I'm about as far away from Woodbridge as you can get down in Tennessee, but yeah, it's really cool, and yeah, it's just really cool, and I love Laverne. I mean, obviously, I love Laverne now. Yeah,
You're
yeah,
locked in, man. You're locked in. You're focusing on the right stuff. I love to hear it. I'm curious to hear about, you mentioned, the first few races of the season didn't necessarily go as you wanted them to. How did you regain confidence in training or even a conversation, or what kind of needed to happen for you to line up on that, starting line feeling somewhat confident that you could do what you ended up doing?
yeah. I think the biggest thing was just coming down from higher mileage. My first couple races, I didn't really, not that I didn't prepare for them, but I didn't really. I was basically just doing the same workouts and same long runs and stuff like that. So I was going into them with a little bit heavier legs, and then going into Nike Twilight, I really took a step back from like the intensity of my training. So I was going into a lot fresher, and that's what I kind of told myself, and that's what my coach told me. Like, don't stress it. Like, um, I got beat at our home meet by Keegan, who's like one of our state's top guys as well. So it's like, don't stress it. You had heavy legs, like just we're gonna go and get a good effort next week, and that's just kind of what I had in my head. Like we're gonna go and get a good effort and be excited about it, and we're taking this trip. It's gonna be fun. So yeah, just more than anything else, just focusing on the stuff I can control and not like the outcome and stuff like that.
As much as you're willing to share, what's like a general Sunday through Saturday training cycle for you these days?
Yeah, so Saturdays is usually it's either gonna be like a long run or like a long run fartlek combination. So like I don't know, it'll probably be 11 to 12 miles of work. When I say high mileage, like my mileage is not like crazy high compared to like what some other people are doing. I think my highest mileage week has been like 65, which is really high for me, but not crazy. But yeah, and then Sunday's completely off. We get those off unless we have like a meet on like Tuesday. I might do like a shakeout or something then. But yeah, so I'm running 6 days a week usually.
Was there a workout going into Laverne that you did and, you walked off the trail, grass track, whatever it was, and, felt confidence like, ooh, we're on the right path?
Yes. I did one where I started out with a fast K, did a bunch of miles at threshold, and then did another fast K. And after that work, I'm like, dang, yeah, I'm really ready. And I did a hill session as well. That really, I think, um, helped me a lot on those rollers.
What are you closing a workout like that in for a K? Make me feel slow
Um,
here, Jack.
I think it was like this particular one was like 245, 246, I believe.
Jeez. Jeez.
Yeah.
Crazy. Take me through the next steps. What are you looking forward to these coming weeks and months leading into regionals, nationals?
Yeah, so I think just getting a lot of good training in. We have a meet this weekend at the running lane course, so it'll be good to get out there, run on a good fair
Oh
course
boy.
again. Yeah, um,
What day is this? I gotta keep my eyes open now.
it's on Saturday. It's on Saturday.
Okay.
But yeah, I think there'll be
We're
some pretty
talking
good
the course that Colin ran 14:05 at, right?
yes,
Oh
yeah.
boy.
But yeah, I've
We
run there
did this
before.
podcast a week too early.
We'll see. I think really it's just going to be about going out and getting another like good effort in, and just looking towards state in 2 or 3 weeks, and then a couple of regional races, and then yeah, hopefully in December going out to San Diego, running that and running real fast.
I want to hear about this. I should have done more research before this conversation, but sometimes I kind of like going into conversations a little naive because I know the listeners don't always know about the person I'm talking to. Um, you're a stud, right? You're in 1441. This past spring, you're in 410. You're in fast in the 32 as well. You did really well at Nike Indoor Nationals, as you said. What did you do last cross country season? Did you end at state? I don't think you ran a regional meet. Take me through that, and what's it like full circle? We're talking less than a year later, and we're talking not just making nationals, but maybe even winning it.
Yeah, I did. I ran at NXR last year. I had a pretty rough race. I don't know. I think I had a little bit of sickness. Kind of legs kind of gave out on me the last 200 meters going up that hill. So yeah, it was definitely a kind of a sour ending to my season, but at the same time, like again, it gave me that little chip on my shoulder for this year. Um, yeah, and I think I'm better prepared this year. I'm more excited this year, and I think I'm just a better racer. So yeah, just looking forward to racing a bunch of regionals against some really good people and making it out to San Diego.
These mindsets are generally only found in people who are very mature in sport and in college or out of college. For you, have these mindsets developed throughout high school? Are they like this past year? Are they through talking to people like Coach Milt? Kind of take me through your progression as an athlete and your mindset in sport, because even if you feel like it's like everyone has it, trust me, I talk to kids all the time. It's like they compare themselves to people. They're focused on the outcome. Like you are the complete opposite. So can you take me through some of these mindsets and how they've developed throughout the years?
Yeah, I think a lot of them stem from my coach, Coach Stoker. He's just been saying the same things to me for the past 4 or 5 years now, and I think as I get older and as I get, to be a better racer and a bit more mature, like I think they really do start to stick. And then you have people like Coach Milt, Coach Mooney. They just always have such great advice as well. So yeah, yeah, I mean that outcome thing I talk about, that's pretty much Coach Stoker. That's all him, and I'm very grateful for what he's done for me and how he's helped me become a better athlete and a better person.
As I mentioned a minute ago, you go from running a regional meet to then the following year, the conversation's completely shifted. What advice would you give to a listener out there in terms of, you can flip your whole trajectory around in 1 year if you really commit to it and follow through on the process?
Yeah, I think just like being consistent in everything you do is really the key. Like, I mean, it's easy to be. I think it's pretty easy for me to be consistent in the runs, but it's maybe a little harder for me to be consistent when I'm doing my core or my mobility, or my recovery, my hydration, all that stuff. So I think just that's kind of the big thing. Just like have being really intentional about everything you do, and just because like you might have that run and you might feel really good after your run, but then like maybe that's not how you're going to get better today. Maybe it's the core you need to do afterwards and stuff like that. So I think that's really what changed for me. I'm just like every little thing now is like always helping me get better. Yeah, so I just be focused on the small things. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Like just do you pretty much.
You mentioned the name Cole Hawker earlier and how one of your teachers knew who he was. I'm so curious to ask you about the Foot Locker National Cross Country Championships, where Cole won a few years back. This is a race that you're going to try to qualify for. I have no doubt that you will. What would it mean to bring one home? A South individual hasn't won it. I think Midwest has won 5 out of the last 6 years or something individually. But you go down that list of names, and it's just filled with NCAA champions, Olympic champions now, NCAA record holders, U.S. champions. What would it mean to win a national championship to close out your senior year?
I mean, it would mean everything. Like, I mean, it would be the culmination of so much hard work and so much sacrifice, not just like by me, but by so many people in my life. And I think it'd be super awesome. Yeah, and that's kind of been in the back of my mind. Again, trying to think about the results as much, just kind of go out there and do my thing. But yeah, it'd be incredible, and yeah, and for the South and for just like for yeah, for my school, for my family, for everything, it'd be awesome.
I'm very curious to hear about this. Balboa Park, kind of what this series is named after, the road to Balboa, has a lot of aura around it, to use a word that kids love these days, has a lot of aura around it. And people talk about the hill and how challenging of a course it is. How would you match up Tennessee courses to something like Balboa? I know you haven't been or raced it, but as far as you know, how easy slash hard are the courses in Tennessee, and how are you going to prepare for something like Balboa as you start to get closer?
Yeah, I think the hills are a big part of my training because a lot of the courses I run on do have one or two like big hills. So like Wake Med, which is the NXR course, it has that I don't know if you've been there, but it has a pretty. I think it's a monster that you go up twice. So I think, yeah, I think I'm just always really well equipped for hills this year. Um, I think just going up there and racing and hills are such a big part of my training that I'll be well equipped for that one. I think the regional course has that big hill in the middle as well. So, I mean, I'm always thinking about those are basically the reason why we do hills is pretty much for power, but also because like a lot of the courses we do, will have that one big hill in the middle or that one big hill at the very end.
Talking about things that really don't matter, but still, it's in the train of my thought, and these are conversations, so why not bring it up? Foot Locker, the regions are West, Midwest, South, and Northeast. Northeast is kind of like green, yellow. Midwest is like light blue. West is purple. South is orange. How do you feel about the regional colors? And if you could choose, which one would you choose?
I
I'm
actually
sure
really
you've
like
seen
the
uniforms from last year.
I like the orange a lot. Orange a lot. Yeah, I think I'd stick with the orange.
Okay. I love it. I love it. The South team broke the Midwest streak that was very long lasting. Team was all amped up, hype. I know a lot of those guys are coming back, returning this year. Um, Foot Locker's very individualistic, but I can tell you as someone who went last year, like these teams bond, they have a great time. How excited are you to be in an atmosphere of like, it's the top 40 guys in the nation, top 40 girls, very exclusive, like next to no one there. They've all made it. They're all, some of the best athletes in the country. How excited are you for a meet like that? Really your first big national meet that's that exclusive.
Yeah, I mean, super excited. I think it would be a once in a lifetime experience. Yeah, and just getting to be with these people that are all like have the same mindset and the same like goals as me. I think it's super cool, and maybe be friends one day and then kind of like rivals on the course for the next day when we race. And so, but I think yeah, I think it sounds really awesome, and I'm super excited for it.
Last spring of 2023, did a podcast series leading into the festival miles with Connor Burns and Simeon Birnbaum. That class ended up shaping up to be, I think, probably the greatest that we've ever seen. And then last cross country season, got together with Hoka, and we didn't really know what to do for a podcast series because it was like, well, there's not really two front running guys like Connor and Simeon. And so we kind of made that like Rising Stars edition, kind of unveiling some of the top stories. Through that, got to meet Drew Griffith, Ryan Pajak, who ended up going 1-2 at Foot Locker, and a bunch of the other guys like Cameron Todd, plays second at NXN, did well at Foot Locker as well. And then in the spring, after knowing those names, those guys like hit it out of the park. Can you speak to this year's class and some of the guys that are starting to unveil themselves, their names, and like what your class you think is capable of? Because I feel like last year people thought it was taking a step back from 2024, but then it was like, I don't know, I'd put Drew Griffith up against almost anyone. Like crazy.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think our class is going to do a lot of great things. I think people's going to surprise people going into going into December and then in track season as well. I know a lot of guys down here, down in the South, they're hungry. I think we're going to see some pretty good efforts from Tennessee, from Georgia, from all down there. So I'm very excited for it. Yeah, I think we're going to surprise some people.
Cross or track, which do you prefer? What's your passion?
Man, um, I don't know. I think I like working out on the track better. So like that's kind of makes me lean towards track. But something about cross country sometimes just it just feels different. So I think it really just depends on the day, honestly.
Looking ahead to the coming month, off the track, what's something you're looking forward to? Has nothing to do with running. What are some of your other passions, hobbies, and can you fill out some of who Jack Bowen is to the listener?
I think I'm just looking forward to like continuing to enjoy my senior year. Like the last bit with a lot of my friends. Just having fun, doing stuff, hanging out, going to all the sporting events, stuff like that, the football games, and just enjoying my last couple months as a high schooler. I know that's kind of like a non-specific answer, but I think it really is what I'm looking forward to the most.
I love it. Jack, final question for you. The question I ask every single guest on every single podcast. If you had Gordon Ramsay coming over to your house for dinner, what would you choose to make for him?
Oh, I would choose. Oh, shoot. Um, I'd probably try and grill a steak, make some mashed potatoes, maybe grill some asparagus, and pray he doesn't call me an idiot sandwich.
Is this faking it until you make it, or do you actually feel
The,
like you know how to make this stuff?
I think I can grill a pretty decent steak. The mashed potatoes might be a little chunky, and the asparagus might get burned. But yeah, fake it till you make it.
There you go. Jack, really appreciate the conversation. It's been super cool following your career after, finding out about your name, and you've got such a amazing, my AirPod just fell off for the YouTube viewers. That's the worst. AirPods are the worst. Real quick, sidetrack. you're wearing AirPods as well. Do you ever run with AirPods, and do they fall out of your ears?
I'd never run with AirPods.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're a team.
I'm not a big listen to music
Okay, that's
guy.
fair.
Yeah.
Because I had the like AirPod 3s, they weren't the pros. And after getting out of high school, I'd run by myself, occasionally listen to music or podcasts, and they would always stay in my ears. And then I just got the AirPod Pro 2s, and for the love of me, they will not stay in my ears on runs. So, anyways, back to my point. Thank you so much for the conversation. Really excited to see all the things you'll accomplish this year. And I'm probably going to be at the South Meet, but I'll for sure be at Nationals, and excited to see you absolutely tear it up on Balboa Park December 14th, man.
Sir, thank you.